929 Tanakh together, Genesis 20. The smartest rabbi I know, which is my wife, calls this the family trick. It's a ruse of sorts, which Abraham uses twice in Genesis chapter 12 and here in chapter 20. Isaac uses it once in Genesis chapter 26. And it doesn't leave the patriarchs looking very good. Only the intervention of God and a very smart Avimelech in the case of Isaac stops a very awful thing from happening. Why would the patriarchs put themselves in this position? Why would the matriarchs agree to putting themselves in this position? One of the really troubling aspects of the text is that the women here are silent. The first explanation given by the text in two of the three stories, but I think the gist is there, is that Abram and Isaac are not sure about the moral fiber of the people in the cities. These stories are presented as the patriarch coming from the field into a city, and we know that cities are problematic. Verse 11 says, "I thought," said Abraham, "surely there is no fear of God in this place, and they will kill me because of my wife." The second way in which the text frames these very morally complicated passages is by setting them in times of desperation. Genesis 12 and Genesis 26 talk about a famine, and here in 20, what could be the desperation? Well, we know that this happens between the announcement of the birth of Isaac and the birth of Isaac. This happens immediately after the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. Abraham just looked towards the valley and saw it being nuked. He does not want to be close to that. It's not good for sheep. It's not good for people. And by doing this, the text might be actually doing two things at once that might seem contradictory. On the one hand, by the fact that this quote-unquote family trick is repeated, it's teaching us not to judge people who are escaping horrible things. What we consider moral normality when life is going well is not what people have to face when they are fleeing conflict, famine, or war. Even great prophets of God were afraid for their lives and the lives of their wives. And at the same time, the text is giving gentle tochecha to the patriarchs, is giving rebuke. Assuming that you are the only God-fearing person in the world will isolate you and will transform you in a very lonely person. Avimelech in the story speaks and says, "God, why am I being punished?" The people of his city are afraid when he tells them, "This person, we have sinned against God." They are fearful of God. Later, after Isaac is born, Abraham is going to make a pact with Avimelech. This should have happened before. Good humans need to know where the other good humans are so we can ask for help when we need it. We need to be in holy covenant with all other God's children.